Hi, this is Tony Wu, and in this video, I'm going to share with you how to think like a billionaire. And thinking is one of the most important skills you can ever develop, especially as an entrepreneur or business owner, because if you don't know how to think, you won't have a direction for where to go. You'll miss a ton of opportunities to make correct decisions. Everything you do will fail. You'll be running around in circles and you won't be able to project ideas you have into other people's mind. And when you can't do all those things, how are you going to build a successful business? How are you going to live the life you want? Right? You can't do that. So in this video, I'm going to share with you how to set a direction for where you want to go, how to view reality differently so you can discover new opportunities nobody else can, and how to use first principles thinking to problem solve and make decisions. Before we can actually teach you how to think, you have to know exactly where you want to go. Because if you don't know where you want to go, how are you going to get there? And what is thinking really? Why thinking is so powerful is because thinking gives you the superpower of problem solving. But what problems are you going to solve if you have no idea where you're going? And think of it like this. This is you. You can have the best boat in the world, you can have the best car in the world, you can have the best plane in the world. But if you don't know the destination, that's the destination. You don't know the destination, you're just going to drift around aimlessly, and you're never going to get to where you need to go. That's why knowing where you want to go is so important. And what is knowing where you want to go? Knowing where you want to go is goal setting. And the goal of every business should be to become a monopoly, to be so good, to be at least 10 times better than your competitors, to be so good that your customers wouldn't even consider going to your competitors. And take Google, for example. When have you ever even had the slightest consideration of switching to Yahoo or Microsoft Bing? Never, never, ever, because that's how much better Google is. And they're so good that nobody even wants to come into the market to compete with them because that's absolutely and utterly stupid. And the thing is, if you're watching this, you're probably running a marketing service business like I was. I used to run an agency and now I started another agency. But besides that, in this marketing service businesses space, there's so much competition. Everybody is doing the same exact thing. You can scroll for 5 minutes on Instagram, on YouTube, on TikTok, on Facebook, and you see a million different ads of people trying to sell you their agency services, this new business model, trying to sell coaching, trying to sell consulting, trying to tell you this new offer or new marketing strategy that they've developed. And it's so incredibly hard to stand out. It's so incredibly hard to become a monopoly if you don't know how to think. Okay, so now we have the goal of actually becoming a monopoly. But if you break that goal down into its first principles, which we'll cover at the end, how do you become a monopoly? You need to be 10 times better than your competitor, at least. That's my definition, at least. Break that down even more. How do you become 10 times better? You need to provide more value. And how do you provide more value? You need to do the things that your competitors are not doing. You need to meet the needs, meet the wants, and solve the problems that your competitors are not solving for their customers. And this is where you need to change your view of realities to find these new opportunities, because everybody is so stuck in old ways of thinking by analogy, which also we'll cover, that they don't see these opportunities. And this is where you come in. You need to change your view of reality so you actually can find these opportunities. When you're trying to find new opportunities, you have to look at the world differently, because if you look at the world the same way that everybody else does, then you won't see the opportunities that nobody else does, right? And there are really only two types of reality. Let's say this is reality. There are two types. First type is objective reality. This is how the world actually is. And this is subjective reality. This is how you and I view the world. And we'll always view the world subjectively because we have these emotions, these biases ingrained into us, and even if you don't realize it, we're definitely influenced by other people's opinions and these widely held cultural beliefs. And when you make decisions off of these other people's opinions and other people's beliefs, it's called reasoning by analogy, when you use subjective facts for reasoning. And when you use subjective information, these subjective principles, then everything you do will fail. Because when the fundamental truths that you make your decisions off of are not true, then the decisions you make will not work. That's just how it is. And it's kind of like viewing the world through tinted glasses. And you see something, somebody asks you the color, and you tell them the wrong color because you're wearing tinted glasses. And this is also why you're often surprised by children's creativity and their curiosity. It's because that they haven't yet been as influenced as you by other people's opinions or other people's beliefs. And we'll never be able to view the world objectively because we are these emotional creatures. And it really did help us survive, but it's not the best for making decisions. And if you notice, there is an overlap between objective and subjective reality. These are what we call first principles. And first principles are the things that are 100% true. The basic principles that cannot further be argued. 100% true, you cannot argue them. And you want to use these first principles as building blocks for decision making. So when you make decisions based off these sound fundamental principles, it's almost guaranteed that they will work, that you will succeed. Okay, but how do first principles help me realize more opportunity, help me find more opportunity? And that's exactly what I'm going to show you. See, most people, like I said, view reality subjectively. Let's say this is reality. And if they're looking, they can only see one side of reality, and they can only solve those problems. And what you want to do is, because you are using first principles thinking, you are trying to view the world more objectively. You have this objective view on the world, which is you gain a little bit more truth. You'll be able to see more perspectives, more sides of the problem. And when you see more problems, when you find more problems that even the customer, even your clients may not realize that they have, then you have an opportunity to be better than your competitor. You have an opportunity to be 10 times better, 100 times better, to build a monopoly. Just to give you an example, when I was starting my first agency, I saw that everybody else was selling retainers, and that's the widely held belief at the time. Everybody sold retainers, everybody thought retainers were the way to go because you get recurring revenue, right? But when you look at it closely, when you break it down using first principles, you see that the agency actually does 80% of the work the first month. They set up the ad campaigns, they do the creatives, they write the email copy, they set up the landing pages, they do all that, and then the next month it just drops off significantly because what are they doing now? They're doing some optimization, they're doing some tweaks, and then the client is paying the same amount for a whole lot of nothing. So what do you think they're going to do? They're going to cancel. So agencies were having this massive churn rate. That was really bad for them. And what we decided to do, because we were looking at reality more objectively, we realized that the retainer model was not the way to go. So we actually turned it around and made speed one of our selling points, right? And we said that we would implement everything for them in under 30 days. And we know that speed is valuable. Speed is time, and time is the most valuable resource that you can have, especially for a business owner. So they're going to pay us more to do things quickly. And on top of that, everybody was selling done for you services, right? Why was everybody selling done for you services? Because they wanted for the client to pay them. And they were scared that if they taught the client how to do it, then they wouldn't need them anymore. So this is a classic example of giving a man a fish, right? And you know that teaching a man to fish is more powerful than giving a man to fish. And we add it on top of our speed-based pricing system because we're selling a one-time service. And we say that we'll implement the system for them. We'll do all the upfront work, and then we'll teach you how to constantly optimize it. We'll teach you how to constantly make it better so you won't ever need another agency ever again. And again, we get paid more because we're providing more value. We're teaching a man to fish instead of just giving a man to fish. And we're also doing it faster instead of trying to draw it out and increase the contract length, right? And if we accepted the widely held beliefs that we should sell retainers and that we should do done for you only, then we wouldn't have found these opportunities. We wouldn't have been able to solve these new problems. And we were only able to do that because we looked at reality objectively and we tried to think in first principles. Okay, through thinking objectively, you found a new problem, you found a new opportunity you want to take advantage of, and now you actually have to come up with a solution. You need to deliver the value so you can get paid in accordance to that. And now here we are at the real meat and potatoes of the lesson. How to use first principles thinking to make decisions, how to use first principles thinking to solve problems and come up with solutions that nobody else can, right? And this is the thinking framework that's used by every successful, every smart person you can ever think of. It's been around for a long time now. It's been used by anybody from Aristotle to Newton to Elon Musk today. So, how do you actually use this thinking framework? First, you need a goal. That's why I said before, knowing, having a direction is so incredibly important. Let's say Let's say you're a marketing consultant trying to scale. You want to serve more clients. Yes, let's say you're a marketing consultant, you're trying to serve more clients. So you have your goal, you want to serve more clients. The next step to thinking of first principles is you need to have your beliefs. You need to write down or identify all of your beliefs. And this could be, let's say I need to serve more clients, so maybe you believe that you need to hire a bunch of people and manage them. That may be your belief. And then go to step 3. You need to question and doubt everything. Because you're using an objective view of reality, a lot of the things that you come up with might be against the widely held beliefs of the time. And you can't listen to them. You have to think for yourself and question every assumption, every belief that every opinion that everybody has. So you believe that you need to hire a lot of people to fulfill for these clients, right? And then you believe that, you question it, and you say, why do I need to hire a lot of people? And when you really break it down, you can see that you don't necessarily have to hire a lot of people. You just have to deliver more value for more people. That's all it really is. And then you go back and forth questioning all your beliefs until you break everything down into its core fundamental principles, things that its first principles, things that can't be broken down any further, that are 100% true, that are as simple as they can get. And then you can rebuild from up there. And what we realized is that you don't have to, hire more people. You just have to provide more value for more people, right? That's one first principle. Okay, so through this process, this is where you find your first principles, right? And then the last step, ask yourself, how? You build on top of the first principles, you use the first principles to build, and then you think, how do you achieve your goals, right? So you found that you don't necessarily need to hire more people, you just need to provide more value for more people. So how do you do that? Maybe you start thinking and you say, well, instead of I going through this repetitive process where I teach them things that very basic things that I have to go over and over and over and over for every client, and it just wastes my time. Instead, I can format that in a video format where they can watch it on their own time and still gain the same amount of value and have to do less work. And that's leverage. And from that, you just changed your belief to believing that you need to hire more people, to now you just need to provide more value, and now you know exactly how to provide more value for more people and exactly how to achieve your goals. That is the power of first principles thinking. The title of this video is How to Think Like a Billionaire. I promised you how to think like a billionaire, and that's because Elon Musk is a famous example of someone who uses first principles thinking. For example, when he was running Tesla, people thought, the belief at the time was that batteries were far too expensive to make electric cars work. And Elon questioned those beliefs. He broke it down into his first principles. What are batteries really? It's just a collection of these materials, and you need this much manpower to put it together. And at the time, batteries were $600 per kilowatt hour. And then Elon did some calculations. He's like, wait, I could make a battery in theory for $80, right? And now he executes, he makes the batteries for $80. Same thing when he was launching SpaceX. He wanted to buy a rocket, that was his goal, and at the time people thought rockets were really expensive. He went to Russia, he tried to buy a used ICBM, but they quoted him an outrageous price, and he started thinking, he started questioning, why do rockets have to cost that much? And what he discovered is that they costed that much and it could be reduced a lot drastically. The price could be reduced drastically if they reused the rockets. But another belief, he had to go back and question another belief. Another belief at the time was that it was almost impossible to reuse a rocket. And that's why NASA or nobody ever thought to do that. But when you think with first principles, you can actually break it down into the physics-based approach. And if you look at the physics, it's actually possible. It's just really hard. And now he moves on to the fourth question, which is how. How do you do it? And of course, now he knows what he has to do, but doing it is still really difficult. How do you build a reusable rocket? How do you make a cheaper battery? First principles can by no means make a task easier, but it can give you the thinking framework to actually find a task, to actually find opportunities to execute on, to solve problems, to make decisions, instead of just listening to other people's opinions and the widely held beliefs at the time. This is how you build a monopoly. This is how you become 10 times better than your competitors. And when there's a problem and when there's a belief that they just accept the problem, that is a massive opportunity for you. I do plan on making a first principles thinking methodology, and that should be in the description somewhere. But for now, if you view the world objectively to find opportunities everybody else misses and problem solve using first principles, I believe you'll build a business 10 times better than all of your competitors.